back to Virtual MOSI. My name is Stephen again. Today we're going to be continuing our discussion we did yesterday about animal migrations. Today we're going to be focusing on some animal migrations that I consider amazing. So these are going to be ones that are larger than life, I guess I would say. So today we're going to be focusing on three main animal migrations. Some of these you probably have heard of before. If you haven't, you're going to learn about them today. So one of them is going to be the great migrations that happen over in Africa with the wildebeest. So we're going to learn about those guys, and I think that one's pretty cool because it happens year-round. So it's constantly happening where they live. Then we have the monarch butterflies. Since yesterday we kind of focused on some of animals like whales all the way to birds, we didn't really focus on insects. Yes, some insects do migrate. And the monarch butterfly migration is pretty cool because it happens right here in the United States, including Florida. So it happens right here. And then the last one is going to be the Mexican freetailed bats. Those are just a personal thing I thoroughly love learning about. We have them here in Florida, but the ones we have here in Florida do not migrate. They do travel back and forth, but the ones where they do migrate is going to be from Mexico to Texas. We'll talk a lot more about that in just a minute. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to talk about is going to be the wildebeest migration. So the wildebeest migration happens over in Tanzania and Kenya, so over in Africa, and we're going to map those guys out on the map just like yesterday so you can actually physically see where those are located. And these guys are going to be traveling over the different Serengeti plains that they have. And they're going to be traveling, as you can see in the pictures, there's going to be thousands and thousands and thousands of these wildebeest traveling together. The reason why they're traveling is going to be kind of depending on the seasons. So there's three different areas that I'm going to kind of focus on. It's going to be July through October, which is when they're going to be in the northern plains, meaning that it is too cold in the other areas. There's not enough vegetation because these guys are herbivores. So they do need to eat all those nice plants. Here in the picture you can see there's plenty of water, so that's great. So often we know a lot of the animals in Africa are looking for water, just resources. That's how the topography of the environment is there. They have to follow the seasons depending on the rain. So right here they're traveling around, they're going through the waters. But then in December they're going to be more in the southern areas, and that's going to be whenever they're going to be having their calves. Because it's going to be more food than you can think of in those areas because it just finished raining there, or is getting about the season where it's starting to as well. The rest of the year, they're going to be in between those two locations, making their route around. But yeah, so that's one cool thing about the wildebeest migration. Another amazing thing about this one is it can actually be seen from space. That is how large and how many animals are going to be migrating in their herds at that point in time. It can be seen from space. So go ahead and look that up, see if you can find some really cool pictures. Let me know if you do. One of the other ones that I think is pretty cool, also because butterflies, we all know, they look very beautiful. Those very bright, colorful wings. And you can see here, this is a real picture. This is how many butterflies do migrate whenever they do their migration. There are going to be thousands and thousands and thousands of butterflies. And the cool thing about these guys is we are able to study these a little bit easier because it's easier to catch butterflies than it is a wildebeest for our scientists. So they can easily grab them and try to figure out why these animals are migrating, especially because it's an insect. We can understand why birds may be migrating for nesting seasons, same with sea turtles, whales, wildebeest, but why butterflies? So the butterflies are going to be starting out kind of more in Mexico at that time, and then they're going to be traveling up into the United States during our summertime and leaving during our winter time. So that kind of goes with that, so the weather, so you know, their populations stay where they need to go. But how is the more other reason? Like, why are they going to be traveling such long distances? And we'll map out, because I can show you how far some of them do travel. They travel from pretty much the very bottom of Mexico all the way to the very tippy top of the United States. They don't often go into Canada, but they have been found all the way to Canada as well. That's a very long distance for a very tiny butterfly to fly. Think about that. Okay, So one main reason why they do, where do the monarchs go? So they're going to be, like I said, more of the northern United States area from Mexico. But they're traveling because of the food sources you see. Monarch butterflies do eat foods such as milkweed plants. If you have a butterfly garden or have ever been to one, we have a lot of those right here in Florida. So that is the reason why they do come here. So we're going to map all these guys out, so all the information I'm talking about will make a little bit more sense. And then my personal favorite is going to be the Mexican free-tailed bat. These are often the ones that we're going to see flying around at night here in Florida. They're really tiny, small ones. But these guys are going to be, again, from Mexico. That's why they're called the Mexican free-tailed bat. They're also referred to as the Brazilian free-tailed bat, because they do live in South America as well, near Brazil. But these guys do a large migration all the way to Texas. If you ever get a chance to, there's a very famous cave that there are going to be thousands and thousands of these bats flying out every night. And they are very important for the insect population control, because a single bat can eat over 1,000 insects in one night. So I think that's pretty cool. That's why they're very important here in Florida, because we all know if you live in Florida, we have a lot of bugs, so those bats definitely help out in that way. Let's go ahead and map out our migrations that we did some of yesterday. So we're going to start just in the order we did the PowerPoint in. So right over here, this is the continent of Africa. Right over here is going to be Tanzania and Kenya. So I already have a one dot right there. So that one small location is where all of this migration happens. Earlier, whenever we had like the Arctic terns traveling pretty much across the world, same with the whales, these guys don't travel across the continent of Africa. Again, these guys are land-based. They can't swim across the ocean. So they do those thousands of miles every year in a very kind of, centralized location, just right there. And all of that can be seen from space. That is how many animals, again, can be seen. They're not traveling such long distances, just back and forth. These guys are constantly migrating in sort of like a circular pattern. I have a little bit of a different map right here if you wanted to see what that meant. So right here, this is Tanzania and Kenya, right over here, and they are making this pattern all year long, going from the northern to southern, and these are going to be the in-between areas. Makes a little more sense when I show you a little bit closer map. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and map out our monarch butterflies. I do have this fun little container of monarch butterflies right here. So we're going to show you. So right over here is where they kind of start out over in Mexico, right over here. And they also start out right around here. So what they're going to be doing is they're going to be centralized here, and they're going to be going to all of these places and migrating north. So you can see these thousands and thousands of monarch butterflies during the summer months. That is when they're going to be traveling up here because it's nice and warm here. There's a lot more food, but during the winter time, they're going to be heading back down to southern Mexico. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and mention the Mexican free-tailed bats. So like I said, they're the ones some of the ones we have here in Florida. So I did put a dot right here in Florida. But these guys typically do not migrate from Mexico to Florida. The ones that are going to be migrating are going to be from Mexico to Texas, specifically San Antonio area, where they're going to be migrating. And of course, along the way, you're going to be eating thousands and thousands of insects, which is, again, a great way to control the insect population. So for the past 2 days, I have done a lot of just talking about animals and doing a really cool map activity, but we haven't really done, the hands-on activities that you guys have gotten used to. So we're going to be kind of taking everything that we have discussed and observing the things that we have learned and applying those to what you can do just right outside in your own backyard. Since right here in Florida we have a lot of animals that do migrate, I want to see and show you guys how you can actually catalog and keep track of all these really cool things that happen in your own backyard. That is through a thing called a nature journal, also known as like an animal observation journal. It kind of depends on what you want to call it. So I'm going to show you different ways to go ahead and make those. They're really, really easy. You don't need anything you don't need to have an entire art kit, a fancy journal. You can just take some pieces of paper, clip them together, and you have a journal. So I have one of my coworkers, Catherine, who also has done the virtual MOSI ones. She has one as well. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what hers does look like. So we have some pages right here. So this is a newer book. So you can see something as simple as just some leaf things she collected when she was outside, some leaf rubbings right over here, which is really cool. You put the leaf under and you go ahead and take like a crayon or pencil and do a print. Some doodles talking about the longleaf pines, the pine cones she found, what they were observing, the sizing, everything like that. So those are some plants. You can definitely observe the plants. We have some amazing animals right here. We have the brown and knolls. We have George, which is our resident gopher tortoise here at MOSI. Just some really cool things. Go ahead and you can create some, she was doodling some of our cardinals that we have right around here because again, this is their mating season here in Florida. So you can go ahead and take all the really cool things we learned this week and apply them and just make some really cool observations. Doesn't have to be a drawing if you're not an artist. You don't have to draw, you can just take notes. You can, anything like that. I'm not the best artist, so mine would be mostly, note-taking, but then Catherine has a little more, artistic ability. But it could be something as simple as, a little tiny notebook that can fit right in your pocket, journals. Again, anything that you can find that you have a handy journal laying around. I know I do because most of these came from my desk that we can have and just do some really cool observations. If anyone does those throughout the week or throughout the month, just go ahead and send us a picture. I want to see what you guys come up with. If you have any questions, let us know. We'll be checking this throughout the day. Hope you have a great day. Goodbye.